Hello, this is teddygaming. Welcome back to another review on the 2012 tmnt Season 1, Episode 7, Monkey Brains. So, in this episode was pretty weird in terms of what they had to show, and it was okay, don't get me wrong, but in terms of what was shown, it opened up the doors to what would later be known as the normal. So this episode introduces to a few new characters, Dr. Rockwell, who's a monkey, and also Dr. Victor Valco, who later turned into the Rat King. And this episode was sort of like the backdoor for two important characters for the series, semi-important characters. And this episode had a lot to offer, to say, but I think the way that they went around it was probably not the best way that they could have done it. But it was opening up the doors to being like normal, which I feel like was an okay introduction, but still had a lot of potential to be so much better than what it was. So let's actually talk about the episode, shall we? Okay, so the episode starts off with Mikey and Donto training, and they're just fighting really. But Mikey finally like renames himself for the first time in the series, the first of many, shall we say, and he's called himself Dr. Flippenstein because he can do backflips. Yeah, I mean, it's not as if any other person would do that and call themselves that, but just specifically him. Yeah. So then Donatello goes and talks to Mospins about it, saying that he shouldn't have done it, he should have done this, he should have done that, just so that he could have done like a full proper attack. But Mospins says to him that you shouldn't really think about what's gonna happen. You should really just think about what, like, in the moment, and just don't think when fighting. And he proves his point by saying Donatello he can make this, he's gonna do this move, he's gonna beat him up and all that. So Donatello prepares himself for that move. I say Mossman's changes it, and well, when you know it, he doesn't do it and does a different thing. So then we have the theme song plays, nothing too different there. But then we cut to the actual episode, and it's a bit more weirder. We see Donatello being a simp. Great, the first of many, shall we say, the beginning, if you will. So in this one, he's just creating a whole plan of options where, like, what if April said this to him, what if he asked him like this, and he had a response for basically every single thing. I don't know about you, but I think he's definitely a big simp. But here we are. So April does eventually come in, and she shows off this video about this new scientist gone missing. So she connects this to her dad being missing, just due to the fact that they're both scientists and gone missing. So Donatello goes with April to go investigate this, where they encounter Dr. Victor Valco, and they find out that basically they were experimenting on monkeys, but then one day this monkey got out and took him away, and they hasn't seen him since. So Donatello and April leave, and as they're leaving, they're in this alleyway where they find themselves up against the monkey, and he basically responds to Donatello through his emotions. So when he's negative and has hostile thoughts, Monkey has hostile thoughts and it's very negative, and the two just starts to fight. And I do think that's a quite interesting dynamic to be in, where basically whatever you do, you're basically gonna get the same reaction back, and that would only escalate things much worse than they are. I do think that's a very cool concept, and I wish they would expand on this much more than what we did show. Like, what if it was happy? Wouldn't the monkey be happy? Like, these are interesting dynamics, which I think they should have expanded on much further than what this show, where, oh my god, Donatello's having hostile thoughts, so the monkey is as well. But this does eventually lead to Donatello being beaten up. April takes him home and makes fun of him, and miraculously, in a few seconds, he's healthy and back to normal as if nothing's happened, with only, like, this should have taken him a few days, hours, weeks to get healed by the big beating that he took. But instead, he just sits there at the water and just really reflects on everything and be like, oh, I'm just such a failure, I can't fight without thinking. So it's been proves that basically everyone can do it, even Mikey. And he does this while Mikey is wearing headphones, it's really distracting. But then Spin just beats him up with his tail. So did Mikey really fight without thinking, or was it just fine normally? I guess we'll never know now, will we? Yeah. But later, April discovers that there's a monkey on the loose, and So Turtles go after him, and it just feels okay. I just didn't like Mikey in this scene, just because Mikey was very comedic and like his role play game and that, and it was okay. There's nothing wrong about it. It's just why do they present him to be so comedic and just stupid, you know? But yeah, I guess. So the Turtles do eventually catch up to him and take him back to uh, Victor Falco's lab. Um, so after Turtles leave, Victor Falco takes his blood and puts it inside of him so that he can have the powers to think or to be telepathically connected to people. I guess that's how it works. So back in there, they discover that, oh no, Dr. Victor Falco never had a monkey. Could it possibly be Dr. Rockwell? Oh my god, yes it is Dr. Rockwell. So the Turtles go after him and they try to fight him, but because of his telepathic ability, they all basically lose. But Mikey, oh Jesus, he takes it in a different direction and he just doesn't know how to think and doesn't know how to fight because he can't think about fighting, he can't fight without thinking, you know? But then Donto finally discovers that he should probably start fighting without thinking, and he does that after being beaten by him a bit. So he does that, then just kicks him into a cage, and it's not really talked about by the fact that Turtles is being up with an old man. I know that's all do that with Rokosaki, but this is different. Dr. Falco didn't really do much. Sure, he turned someone into a mutant, but not enough to be beaten up by teenagers. So in the end, Turtles let Rockwell go, and they still made a bad decision as well, as they discovered that because he reacts to emotions, and America isn't really that good with emotions, they just love a murder on the streets, and no one's done anything about it, and why has this situation never come up again? Has he killed many people? Is he an actual threat? I mean, we don't know anything about this until at least like season 2. What happened to this guy? How many people did he kill? We need an answer. I don't think we can do an answer that we need. How many people did he kill? You know, yeah. But later on, Spin asks April should like become a Kunoichi, which was like a female ninja. April says yes and tells Donnie, and Donnie says, "Oh well, you want to like train some time." And that was it for the episode. So this episode was pretty interesting, I would say. It has a lot to offer with like new characters and the actual story. I'd say that it shows that like it can be doing its own new interesting thing, while also just being like the new normal. Whereas before, like 2003 show would all be serious, story driven. This one's more of episodic stories about just weird in ways, just normal now. So I feel like this is like a good way to get into that sort of stuff without actually going too over the top while just making everything just so stupid or anything like that. So I feel like this is like a nice balance of getting into the new normal for this version. Yeah. So yeah, let me know what you think about this episode in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you like this new normal for TMNT? Or was normal for TMNT? But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you do this one, please share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo. Bye.